Good evening and welcome to the Candidates Forum for the Bonita Unified School District Board of Education. I'm Jill Dolan. I'm the Director of Public Affairs at Mount San Antonio College. First, I'd like to thank the City of Laverne for allowing us to hold the Candidates Forum here tonight in the Council Chambers. And also thank you to the Laverne Chamber of Commerce and the San Dimas Chamber of Commerce for hosting tonight's event. I'm briefly going to go over the rules of the evening, which all of the candidates have already received. Opening remarks by the candidates are established by the published ballot order, and each candidate will have 2 minutes. Written questions from the audience collected prior to the forum via email have been reviewed by question sorters. Questions on the same topic may be consolidated to one question. Questions must be relevant to the position being sought. Questions will be asked in rotation. Questions worded as a personal attack on candidate will be rejected. And questions directed to all, they'll all be responding and they'll have 1 minute each. The timer will start when the speaker begins or 10 seconds after the question has been asked. Leah Skinner, the Executive Director of the Laverne Chamber of Commerce, will be serving as the timer, and Sylvia Melendez, the Executive Director for the San Dimas Chamber, will be collecting the questions. The first speaker for each question will have 30 seconds to begin, and the timer will notify you when your time begins, when 10 seconds remain. So for the first question, the speaking order will begin with Chris Ann Horsley. In the development of a school district budget, what goals and objectives would guide your decision making? Oh, I'm so sorry. Candidates, please begin your candidate statements, beginning with Brittany Allison.
Awesome. Thank you so much to the chambers, to Jill for moderating, all of you for attending, and certainly those watching at home and later on. I'm Brittany Allison, and I'm running for the at-large seat. I am committed to serving Bonita Unified and putting our students and their futures first. If elected, I promise to be a tireless voice for the community, advocating for opportunities that empower every student to live their purpose, and I promise to continue the excellence of our district. I want to work to expand opportunities. Because every educational journey is different, let's increase career and technical educational pathways, collegiate dual enrollment programs, support for students with special needs, and even explore investing in dual language immersion. We need to ensure that we meet the students today and remain a leader in education for years to come. I also prioritize supporting families and staff. As a parent, I value transparent communication, and I want to make it easier for families to be involved in their students' education. As a former teacher, I understand the workload that goes into the profession. We have incredible educators and administrators in this district, and they need to be uplifted, ensuring that they have the materials, training, and the community support they need. I also want to strengthen health and wellness. Our students deserve to be well, feel safe, and receive the support they need. So every student should learn stress and anxiety management and have access to necessary interventions. There is already a lot of incredible things happening on our campuses, so let's make sure we're celebrating those and increasing the collaboration so that best practices can be shared across our campuses. I have kids in the district. My kids will be in BUSD for years to come, and I look forward to being accountable to their friends, their families, at pickup time, at drop-off time, and throughout my community involvement. I love this city, I love this district, and I look forward to serving. Thank you.
Chris Ann Horsley.
Good evening. I'm Chris Ann Horsley. Thank you to the chambers and Jill. Firstly, I firmly believe that a strong public school system is essential for the future of students and for the communities the district serves. Bonita has a proud history of educational excellence, and I've been part of that successful team of educators. My priorities would be that I would want to continue work on school safety, because that's always ongoing and something that's a priority in our community. Also, we have an incredible 80-70 proficiency goal for English language arts and math, and I think it's extremely important that we keep a focus on that. We have a new TK program, and I think it's important that we monitor that as we increase the number of classes over the next year or two. And also our career pathways, they also need to be monitored and kept the quality that they are now and even expanded. Also, I think it's important that your school board members really watch the financial fitness of the district over the next couple of years, just because we see in the state that they are actually collecting less money right now in the last year, so we can see there may be an economic downturn for us. And also I'm running because I want to work proactively with the parents in BUSD. I also have the qualifications, I think, to be a good board member. I've just recently retired after 22 years in Bonita Unified, and I want to give back to this community and to the school district after having worked with so many wonderful families and staff. It's been a great experience for me, and I would like to continue the important work that we do in Bonita Unified.
I'm going to allow Leah to reset her timer. Okay. Now, Derek Bahamanu.
Oh, thank you very much. My name is Derek Bahamanu. I am a current board member, and before I begin, I'd like to thank the Laverne and San Dimas Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for hosting this event. I would like to thank Matt Ween, Dr. Lee, Chuck Coyne, Vicki, Sylvia, and all the people who are here. Thank you for attending this event. And especially I'd like to thank my wife and my two amazing kids. I got very lucky. I married a very supportive and wonderful wife. I have two great kids, and thank you for being here to support me. Hey, buddy. The last 4 years as a school board member has been a little challenging. There's been a lot of stuff happening. We've had COVID. There's been lockdown, distance learning, inflation, supply chain issues, and I have more of a list of all the challenges we've had. And Bonita has done exceptionally well in a very difficult time. And I just want to and it's not about me, I have full confidence that everyone on this board would aid in Bonita being a great district, but I'd like to go over some of Bonita's successes during this time. During this time, the last 4 years, Bonita has implemented a robust mental health program for all students. And I say all students because in some districts, funding's a little different, and we want to make sure that every single kid gets the mental health services that they need. We also have expanded trade skill pathways. We have actually had better test scores, and I checked today, they released the data. We had better test scores than Glendora and Claremont. We've had better test scores in 2019, and the 2022 scores are even better. I will wrap this up since I have 30 seconds. I am running because I want to continue to make a positive impact on the district my kids go to. My daughter Abby's in the 5th grade, my son William's in the 2nd grade, and I believe if we expand trade skill pathways, implement a dual immersion program, use better data in decision-making processes, and we continue to advocate for our families, not just for what the board wants, but what for families want, I think our district will be a better place.
Ready. Crystal Jones-Bacon.
Thank you, and thank you for everybody who's here today, everybody who is tuning in at home, and everybody for taking the time to be an informed voter in not just our community, but just in communities as a whole. Informed voters and informed decisions really move our democracy forward. So I thank you all for participating in our local elections. My name is Crystal Jones-Bacon, and I am here today running for a board seat in District 2 of Bonita Unified. I am here today as a mother, first and foremost as a mother, as a parent who is a student in Bonita Unified, as a wife of an educator, and lastly, I'm here as a servant. I have devoted many hours in the 6 years that we have been a part of Bonita Unified, and as my youngest daughter is now a junior, I am looking at the future and how I can positively continue to affect not just my child's lives, but the lives of all of our students in this district, because it's every student who creates this district and every parent who creates this district. I firmly believe that we need to improve safety in our schools. Not that Bonita is not a safe place to be, but as we can all agree and see, we've had a lot of unfortunate safety events nationwide in our schools, and we know that when students don't feel safe in their schools and in any locations, they don't perform to their fullest abilities. I would love to further our partnerships with Mount SAC, with the University of La Verne, as they are our local colleges, and they offer a wealth and plethora of services and information that can help to continue Bonita at the top, not at the middle, not at the bottom, but we can continue to create and set the bar for where other districts need to be. And lastly, I would love to continue to facilitate collaboration between our teachers, our district, our parents, and everybody who is involved. And I thank you.
Jim Elliott.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. My vision is simple. Work hard with my board colleagues and superintendent to ensure always have access to their dreams on the road to living their purpose. Ensure that Bonita Unified has the resources needed in the right place at the right time to deliver excellence both today and tomorrow. And proactively improve how the board, superintendent, district leadership communicates with parents and the communities it serves. With this campaign, I recommit myself and my time and my experience to the district that I love. This district where my 2 children graduated and where I am proud to have been a member of this board superintendent team for 15 years, starting in 2003. I rejoined the board in September of 2021 to fill a vacancy, and I am grateful for the opportunity to serve once again. I remain hopeful for the future and pledge to be relentless in focusing on excellence for our students and in serving the district at large during this challenging time in our history. Being a responsible board member means that decisions can never be about you, your personal interests, or ideology. Decisions must always be about what is best for students within the boundaries of the law, education code, common sense, and fair play. I respect the board as an institution and believe that a board member has the responsibility to set a public and positive tone, and that decisions must be based on equity, fairness, established goals and priorities, all within the resources the district has to work with. I take seriously the oath a board member makes to the office and the trust that entails, a trust which must be earned and grounded in honest commitment and an understanding of how your actions relate to the bigger picture. Tonight, I recommit to each of you that I will continue to listen, learn, ask questions, and collaborate as a member of the team, all while looking to opportunities to celebrate our success. Thank you.
Ready. Joseph Musgrove.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here, and thank you for everyone who put the time and effort to make this event happen. My name is Joe Musgrove. I'm running for Bonita Unified School District Trustee Area Number 3. And some of the things that I want to improve in our education system is creating different pathways for children in education. I myself went to St. Emus High School, Gladstone Elementary School, and Lone Hill Middle School here, so I'm a local guy. I went to Citrus College, graduated from Cal State Dominguez Hills, and took the college path. But what I've experienced and noticed, not only for myself, but friends that went through the district themselves, is that not everybody wishes to go to college. And there are other pathways after college that will benefit them in the long run, such as trade work, welding, electricians, and if we can implement electives within our high schools to minimize that gap in between becoming an apprentice and graduation in whatever trade they select, working with local unions to promote curriculum and possibly even get experienced teachers from these different trades into our education system to pass on that real life knowledge, which is really important. I also want to promote autonomy and accountability with both the district, the staff, the teachers, and open communication with the parents, making sure that everyone is well informed of what education is going on with their children, and also making sure that all the teachers and faculty are provided with everything they need to provide the children the best education possible. Thank you.
Thank you to all of you. So now we'll go to the questions. And the speaking order will start with Chris Ann on the first question. In the development of a school district budget, what goals and objectives would guide your decision-making? You have 1 minute.
Over the last 5 years, I've helped the Educational Services Department create the LCAP goals that the board then approves and then attach budget items to them. And those goals are really important, and I agree with the goals. Our first goal is to have all students, to prepare students to live their purpose, providing high-quality learning environments and programs. A second goal is about closing the achievement gaps. Then we have another goal about creating technology-rich learning environments. There's another goal about increasing student engagement and having wonderful school climates. And then also to communicate and listen and educate and partner with parents and the community. And then to have access to high-quality curricular and instructional materials. So those are the goals, and right now we've done a really good job of lining up our budget to meet those goals. It's wonderful that we've been able to afford the intervention teachers and mental health counselors that have so supported our students.
Thank you. So Derek.
Thank you very much. First, I would say that NITA's done a very good job with their budgets. We've had fiscally conservative budgeting that has happened, and we've done a great job of making sure that we don't spend so much money in the good times that we get trouble in the bad times. Districts that overspend in the good times end up having to have layoffs, they end up cutting programs needlessly, and we've done a good job of avoiding that type of problem. So as a board member, one of my first responsibilities is to make sure we have a sound budget, one that doesn't overspend, and one that makes sure that one-time money doesn't consistently be used for ongoing expenses. I agree with everything on the LCAP. Chris Ann laid it out beautifully. And if we focus on children's education, whether it is in the classroom, whether it is our kids who need intervention programs, whether it is them getting the mental health resources that they need so they can perform well, or them going into an alternative program where they can, learn a trade or learn skills that can help them get a high-quality job, I think this would be money well spent. So my goal is to make sure that we equip our kids to live their purpose.
Thank you. Crystal.
Thank you. In developing a sound school budget, my priorities and goals would always, number one, be our students, because if it wasn't for the students, we wouldn't be here. But that's what all roads lead back to our students. But in focusing on our students, we need to also address how are we paying our staff? How are we paying our employees? What do those benefits look like? Because realistically, those benefits packages are what are going to retain and attract employees that are going to properly teach and support our students going forward. Bonita has consistently been rated as a top workplace, and that is from employee satisfaction. Employee satisfaction from our employees will roll down to the success of our students, because they're not worried and stressed about, inflation and all of the other things that are affecting finances at home. On top of that, my other main goals would be mental health and our social emotional learning, and ensuring that we are continuing with our support to students in these new and trying times to support all of their needs, not just educational.
Thank you. Jim.
Thank you for the question. Budget priorities, always a hot topic with the school board member and their responsibilities. For me, we start in the classroom always, top priority. So we start in the classroom and work our way out. First, we need to always maintain our commitment to the 80-70 commitment that this district embarked on many years ago, and whatever it takes to continue that commitment and that investment, whether it's with intervention teachers or instructional aides. And emblematic of that was the learning loss, and we talked earlier about what happened during the pandemic, and yet we continue to score well. Next, this is a destination district. We're very proud of that, and staff come here and stay here, and we're very proud of that and continue that, rewarding staff when we have the resources to do so, and continue the partnership that allows us to continue to work with them as partners and then maintain wellness. Thank you.
Thank you. Joseph?
Thank you. Budgeting, as always, is very important, and as my esteemed, well, hopefully future colleagues are sitting next to me, investment into the children's education is an investment into our community, making sure that the children get the best education possible for whether it's trade or extended into further education for college. And also giving incentives for the teachers to retain them. Good teachers, making sure that they have the support that they need, and whether it's in materials, in whatever curriculum they're teaching, and making sure that we're not overspending, but making sure that we maintain a good budget to support as many educational goals as possible.
Thank you. Brittany?
Fiscal responsibility is absolutely vital, and Bonita's budget has a record of being sound. I really value the bottom-heavy system that Bonita maintains, which means we prioritize supporting that which most directly impacts the classroom and the students. So I value keeping the long term in mind because we need to maintain that fiscal responsibility. Certainly utilizing and celebrating the community partnerships and opportunities for increased collaboration. Having a commitment to academic excellence and supporting the whole child, because that is a part of what supports their ability to maintain academic excellence. And then absolutely maintaining transparency with parents and the community to keep that relationship sound.
Thank you. So for question number 2, we'll start with Derek. What is the most important job of the superintendent?
The superintendent functions in a way like the British Prime Minister. He is the chief executive of the district. He's the one who's responsible for making sure everything in district runs perfectly. And I'm giving a very simplistic definition, but he is literally the person people go to who handles everything. That is his job. So the job of the board is really just to hire the best superintendent, to help set up goals and things like that, and to really hold accountable and make sure that the superintendent is accountable to the district. So we're more of an oversight board, and the superintendent's the one who functions as the head CEO. So he's in charge of making sure bargaining units are treated well, negotiations through the HR department, make sure the fiscal responsibility is happening, making sure kids get a high quality education, make sure that pretty much every part of our district runs smoothly. And we've had a very successful run. We've had very good superintendents and assistant superintendents, and I assume that will continue.
Thank you. Krista?
The most important job of the superintendent is the overall wellness of our entire district. Even although we are elected, or we hope to be elected as board members act to oversee and to set directions and set tone for the district, but the actual implementation of the goals and the purposes and what the hope for our district is tasked to the superintendent. It's a crucial job and a crucial position within this district, and the effective leadership of a district falls squarely on the superintendent. As Derek mentioned, we've had wonderful prior superintendents. We have a wonderful current interim superintendent, and I think that as a board member, that is the hiring of a superintendent is of the utmost importance, and it should be something that is taken with absolute concern and discretion in everything you're doing, because that is the direction of our district in person.
Most important job of the superintendent is to support the business of the classroom and supporting the needs and teaching of our students. And to do that, the superintendent needs to do 2 things: support the leadership teams and the administration at our school sites, our school communities. And secondly, to liaison and be the business face and of the communities that we serve, the communities of San Dimas and Laverne, to interact with the communities in a very business-like manner, in a very real and partnership way, to interact with our bargaining units, to continue the long-standing partnership that we worked so hard to build over the years. And it's the most important job in our district, and it's a sacred job, and it's something that's very important to us, and we'll continue to support that. Thank you.
Joseph?
So the superintendent is the captain at the helm of the district. He is the person that everyone goes to address any issues and to make sure that any issue that arises in the classrooms, in the schools, faculty, that they're addressed, anything that needs to be provided to help benefit the children in their education, that it is provided. He is the face of the district at a business level, and should be able to not really be so much as a top-down tier in leadership, but more as a partnership with the members of the district, working alongside with the teachers, the principals within the district, and be really engaged with all the schools to make sure that everything's running well-oiled and nice and fluid.
Thank you.
I mean, the most important job of the superintendent is to manage the whole system, right? It is the people job interacting with everybody. We've already identified up here a couple of things that we all want that has some tension, right? We want accountability and we want transparency. We also want autonomy and we also want a positive workspace. We want to have a focus on education and academics, and we want our students to thrive as whole, well children. There are tensions that exist within those, and the superintendent is the person that helps manage how we move forward, how we set the climate and tone, how we engage with one another, and ensures that the superintendent does those things with the utmost professionalism and integrity, and continuously points us all towards those goals that we share of our kids being safe and well, having a top-notch education, and doing it together as a community.
Chris Ann?
I think this is a really good question, and I've liked all of the answers. Having been in Bonita for 22 years and having experienced multiple superintendents, I would say that they have to be highly visible if they're going to be successful. They have to have really high expectations for themselves, their board, their district office, their schools, principals, and teachers. They have to be very hands-on. They have to know what's going on. They have to get out there and see it. They have to experience the arts and the athletics and the academics, and they have to be really good communicators. With the parents, with students, with the community members, they have to kind of be a liaison between everyone and kind of make it all go smoothly. So there's a lot on that plate.
Thank you. Now we'll go to the third question, and we'll be starting with Crystal. If elected, once the BUSD school board votes to approve an action or policy, what do you believe is your responsibility to that policy or action, especially if you do not support that policy or action?
I'm sorry, there's a bit of feedback. Can you kind of go again? I don't know what's
happening. If elected, once the BUSD school board votes to approve an action or policy, what do you believe is your responsibility to that policy or action, especially if you did not support that policy or action?
Once the school board votes on a policy, my responsibility is to support that policy. The board, any position on the board, is an individual as a part of a team. And the team votes, and that's what we move forward doing. And so my responsibility would be to continue to implement and support whatever that decision would be to the fullest extent. It's not about my desire, it's not about anybody else on this board's desire, it's about what is in the best interest of our students, and what this board votes for is what will go forward and what I would support.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes. Hopefully there's not feedback this time. If elected, once the BUSD school board votes to approve an action or policy, what do you believe is your responsibility to that policy or action, especially if you did not support that policy or action?
Thank you. My duty as a board member is to support, in that scenario would be to support that policy, because the way the question was asked, the due diligence and the process to approve a policy takes place before the vote. So whatever disagreements there are, whatever due process there is, including whether or not it's consistent with education code, public health law, whatever example there may be, the due process and the responsibility of a school board is to work those things through. And by the time it comes up for a vote, and if you vote for it and it passes, then it's time to support that policy.
I think we're working on the audio a little bit. Okay,
Thank you.
Joseph?
Oh,
Go
good.
ahead, Joseph.
All right. When it comes to policies, first and foremost, as a board member, it'd be my duty to read the policy, make sure I understand it fully, make sure that discussion about all the policies are made, and engage with the parents and the community to make sure that these policies that are coming through are for the best interest of the students and the school board as a whole. When it's voted upon, I feel that as a board member would place their vote, either which way it goes. I feel that a board member, in the discussion with any policies that come through with the parents, faculty, that I should support the interests of the board, the parents, and the faculty as a whole, and maintain that stance on any policy that comes through.
Thank you. Brittany?
The board certainly has to operate as a team. Differences of perspectives is such a value, and if we do our good work ahead of time, it means that we've intentionally engaged. We've had meaningful dialogue. We have sought first to understand one another so that once it's gotten to the point where a vote has taken place, we can absolutely move forward as a collaborative unit, ensuring that we can be an effective body and sort of display the way that I hope this community can interact with one another, which means we can have differences and we can disagree, and we can have really good conversations about how we're going to move forward, and then let's move forward together.
There's a lot of background work that goes into making the policies when they are brought to the board. So there's a lot of discussions done at the district office level with people that are involved or going to be impacted by policy. So there's a lot of due diligence process work so that when it gets to the board, then they can have really meaningful discussions. And sometimes it's a back and forth. Things go to the board and then they go back to staff to work on again. So when it has gotten to the point where they have had a vote and it is it's been accepted, then it is the board's responsibility then to support that particular action. And I also agree that it benefits the community when a board works together, when we all collaborate together, and we come to. It's best when there's a consensus, and we can move forward with that. That's the way we like it.
Derek?
Thank you. First, I would say my primary responsibility is my vote. After the fact, you just work on your next vote. So everyone up here is right. You should bring up your concerns beforehand. You should work for a win-win solution, because sometimes people represent different communities or kind of have different philosophies, and you want to make sure that you find something that works for all communities and you don't dismiss one or the other, which does sometimes happen with some people. I do think, though, if it's an egregious one, and I'm thinking of Rialto, I don't want to mention a district that made a mistake, but they decided it would be beneficial to say whether the Holocaust happened or not. The Holocaust clearly happened. That is a terrible thing for them to bring into all their assessments, and as a result, they made it in the news, and they ended up having to go to the Museum of Tolerance. Now, I would just make my vote. I wouldn't say I supported something like that, but if the community got mad at a terrible vote, I think I would be sympathetic on that point.
Thank you. So for this next question, we will start with Jim. Why are school boards necessary?
It's a good question. School boards are necessary for me because school board members are the linkage between the community and our public education, something that I dearly believe in and support. It's unique to this country, and it's something that we hold very dear, and something that I think we all support, and the folks here in the gallery tonight and the folks watching at home are very interested in. It's an essential part of our democracy and an essential part of our public education system, and something that we should all hold very dear. So again, in summary, school boards are essential for the health and wellness of our public education system.
Ready, Leah. Joseph?
Thank you. I believe that the school board is important because it is sort of a round table bringing multiple ideas, multiple points of view, and the ability for the school board to engage with the community, with the parents, and making sure that everything's addressed, all concerns, and working together and effectively with the superintendent. The superintendent is just one person. We have many schools in this district, and I feel that as board members, it is important that we work with him, work with the school district, and work with all the parents and families within our community to make sure that our district just maintains its excellence.
Thank you.
As was pointed out, I guess they aren't technically necessary because they don't exist everywhere. But I will say why they're wildly beneficial and why I do believe they're necessary to the foundations of our community is because it recognizes the shared public interest and public responsibility that is public education. It is for all of us. It's for all of you. It is for the future of our community. So having this body enables the community to have a stake in public education. It enables the community to have a bridge into the processes and procedures so that the board can both be a liaison to increase transparency and understanding to the community, as well as reflect the community's needs, desires, questions, and concerns back to the district. And I think that is necessary.
Chris Ann?
I think that having a board is really essential with public education. You don't have employees that, with their sole responsibility of kind of being, watching what the community is saying about the schools, going into the schools, looking at all the programs. And of course you have the superintendent and the district office that does those things, but kind of with a varied eye that you get from a school board. I think that that's an essential piece. And then it's just, board members kind of play a role as watchdogs. They are watching the budget. No one's really talked about that. And it is really good to have outside people from your community who are going to be reviewing what's going on in a district and making sure that, we're making the right decisions for our students.
Thank you. Derek?
Yeah, so as Brittany said, not all states have school boards. I think Hawaii doesn't have one. And if you look at the systems we have in place, there's a lot of systems in place to run a district. We have laws, we have ed code, we have audits, we have LACO, the county that actually provides other supports. We have a superintendent and assistant supes who actually run the district. The main reason why we have a school board is actually for community responsiveness and accountability. We are the people to make sure that the apparatus of our district works for everyone in our district. And the board members who just focus on support or communication miss that vital point of accountability. We need to make sure that our members, our schools, are not subverting our values. They're giving all of our kids a great education, and that our values are actually communicated in the school setting. So I think that's an important part, is accountability.
Thank you. Crystal?
I find that school boards are necessary and important because they are an elected body of the community and elected by the community. And as elected representation, they represent, hopefully, diverse, different areas of ideas, of thoughts, of cultures, so that they are the most accurate representation of the community that they represent. Because when a board is able to accurately represent the community, they are able to hear and see different points of view and have those discussions in order to make sure that everybody in that community is being met with their needs. And as we all agreed previously, the superintendent implements the direction. And while we have been blessed with wonderful superintendents in Bonita Unified, the board acts and serves as accountability to the community, because in the event we did not have a good superintendent and the buck stopped with them, there would be nobody else after them to help address the community.
Thank you. This next question will start with Joseph. If elected, what would you hope would be key accomplishments of the board during your years of service?
Key accomplishments would be inserting trade programs, focusing on education, but especially the first and foremost would be the trade programs, because not all students go to college, and really promoting the trade programs, because there's a big market right now for trade jobs. Most electricians and most welders just starting out as apprentices start between $75,000 and $80,000 a year on average on their salary. So making sure that as a board, if we can work together and provide first and foremost the best education for all the students possible, so that they have a bright and prosperous future. And together as a school board, raising test scores and really also helping every student, whether it's further education in community college, four-year universities, and whatever they want to do in life, that we have their back 100%.
Thank you.
As mentioned in my opening statement, I hope to see a key accomplished being real moves in the areas of health and wellness. We are cultivating the future workforce and community members, and they need and deserve to be healthy and well. This is a space that I've worked and volunteered in as a member of the District Wellness Oversight Committee last year, as a member of the Wellness Committee for the Laverne San Dimas Educational Foundation. I have had so many conversations with parents and with school site employees that have identified the ways in which they wish to offer more wellness opportunities to their students, because the people on the ground see how that directly correlates to their academic achievement as well. And this intersects with another goal I have, and it's to see our community collaborate and communicate in a radically interactive way. I just desire to see people who think completely different things come together for the good of this district. Thank you.
Thank you.
So in 4 years, I would hope, that they would say about a successful school board that first, that our BUSD state scores would have risen at all levels, elementary, middle, and high school. And along with that, that we would have seen increases in some of the other measures that we're looking at. We have panorama surveys that measure school climate and school safety, and I'd like to see all those measures increase. I'd also like us in 4 years to also have maintained our mental health counselors. I think that's really important, and our intervention teachers. We have not suffered as much in the pandemic because we already had those in place and we kept them working. Now we have to just keep them. But I'm fine. That's good.
Thank you. Derek?
Okay. First, what would radically change education is if Sacramento and Washington just did a great job. If education was fully funded, we didn't have any, I hear applause already. If we didn't have where we get paid with kids with disabilities for one disability and not for all the other ones. So if education was fully funded, that'd be great. If pensions weren't an ongoing liability and they were fully funded. If healthcare wasn't a rising cost, that would actually do radical things for all districts. Unfortunately, that's out of our control. We don't have the ability to do that, so things that I would love to see Benita do that I think are doable. I'd like to see a 360 review implemented. They're used in corporate sectors, the Fortune 500 companies, military. They are common practice, and I don't understand why we can't have common practice implemented in school districts. I'd like to see expansion of trade skill pathways. I'd like to see better data given to the board, better data used by the board using data to make decisions a little bit better. I'd like to see more community involvement, more community trust, higher test scores, a sound
Thank
budget,
you.
and
You're-
for us to keep mental health and intervention programs.
Thank you.
He just listed off everything. I mean, I thought I talked fast.
I saw the cards.
So I would say key accomplishments would be actively repairing and working to build bridges in the fractures in our community. We've seen a lot of community distrust going different ways, whether it's to the school district, to the board members, to other community members over the past couple of years. And I think that when we work together as a community, we can achieve more, and that's the goal overall. So I would love to see our district working together stronger to implement better communication and transparency. An increased focus on collaboration with our local community partners, whether it's the Ed Foundation, the community colleges, Laverne, the University of Laverne. We have so much that's available here, and I think that we can tap into that and continue to remain fiscally responsible, because those are services that we won't necessarily have to pay for. The 80-70 goal, mental health, SEL, or social emotional learning interventions remaining and growing. And lastly, continue to grow our fiscal responsibility.
Thank you. Jim?
Well, I think we ought to continue our investment in learning loss on the heels of the pandemic with instructional aides and intervention teachers. I think we need to be responsible to find the resources needed to continue our 80-70 goals, and I think in 4 years we need to do better than that. I think that's possible. I'd like to continue our growth into TK. We've made a 3-year commitment to fully grow our TK, something that's unique to Benita Unified. We need to finalize the hiring of our new superintendent, something that the board is responsible for, and it's a solemn commitment. And lastly, our Benita Roundtable, which is a tangible and concrete way that we will do much better with how we communicate with the communities we serve, parents, non-parents, the communities, and all comers with how we communicate the messaging on all subjects. So, thank you.
Thank you. This next question will start with Brittany. What do you believe are the most important characteristics of an effective school board?
I think personability. I want someone who is going to be approachable. As we've identified, the school board is vital to being that bridge, which means a school board member should be connected to the community. I enjoy being an ASO coach. I enjoy volunteering on my kids' PTA. I enjoy chatting with parents at drop-off and pickup times. I am a school board member that wants to be out there and connected to the community, which means you don't just get that transparency and accountability on board meeting nights, but you get it on a day-to-day. Also, relationship builders. When we talk about how we're going to build communication and trust, we want a school board member that wants to reach across every table and aisle that they come across and build relationships for the betterment of our school district. And this is something that I have displayed in every way that I'm engaged in the community, and I hope to be able to display it on the school board as well.
Thank you.
Could you read the question again?
Yes. What do you believe are the most important characteristics of an effective school board?
I think that a school board has to be very well educated about the district that they're serving. So I think that they really have to make a commitment to be out there. I think they have to visit the schools on a regular basis. I think they have to really work well with the superintendent, ask for important information, look at that information, ask more questions about it. It's that ongoing commitment to the school district. They also have to be so responsible to the community, and I support the roundtable idea that Jim has mentioned. I think that school board members want to interact with the community, they want to take in information, and they want to be able to do something with it. And so having an avenue like that would be good as part of what the school board does. Thank you.
Thank you. Derek?
There's many qualities I think would make a very good school board. One is to actually have different groups of people. If you have people who all agree, then we're not representing the whole community, we're representing one discourse community, and I think you need different points of view. I think it's important for school boards to listen to the community, to every single part of the community, not just to one part of the community or to one group of people. And when we listen, it's not to communicate or to de-escalate. But I actually think we need to listen with an open mind, because our community might know something we don't. And if we don't listen with an open mind, we might not actually have the best possible solutions. Because the best possible solution is not what works for me or works for someone up here, it's what works for every single person in our community. And if we leave someone out, we're not saying that our community schools belong to all of us. We're saying that our community school belongs to some of us. I think they need to be hardworking. There's a lot of reading that goes along to it. I think we need to be plugged into our community. Whether community groups, we need to be present. And an added benefit, I think it's nice, there's some people without kids and they're very involved, but there is something special
Thank
about
you.
having kids in the district.
Thank you.
I think that some of the most effective characteristics of a school board as a whole and individually as members of the board is a desire to be there and a desire to understand what you're doing and why you're there. With that, and the ability to understand, to be open and listening, open to other ideas, other areas of thought, and always a soundboard for people to say what they feel and what their thoughts are, and to be open to that without, with being approachable. I think that it's important not only for school boards to listen and to talk with the community, but to be out there and active in the community. There's a difference between sitting on a board and putting out decisions and being the people on the floor, helping to get these programs implemented and helping to volunteer through all of the different boosters and boards and committees and seeing what the schools actually need and what kind of supporting they could use. And I think lastly, you have to be willing to change your mind.
Thank you. Jim?
An effective school board needs to be present. They need to listen, they need to learn, and they need to do their homework. I strongly believe that a school board needs to view themselves as a team of 6. That doesn't mean that they all think alike. Matter of fact, I think creative friction is a key ingredient. Disagreement is how you get it right. But they need to commit to being collaborative. They need to be available to each other, particularly when they disagree. They need to be available to the communities we serve and parents and all stakeholder groups. But they also need to understand that there are limitations. If we don't allow our staff and superintendent and cabinet to do their job, there's ironically no chance that we'll be able to hold them accountable. So it's essential that we understand who we are, what our job is, and what our limitations are.
Thank you. Joseph?
Thank you. I believe that the characteristics of an effective school board would be approachable, being able to openly communicate with one another in the community, engagement within the schools, also engagement with the households of the students, essentially with the parents. Listening is the most important part, seeking to understand before being understood. That's an important quality in a school board, that we need to seek to understand everybody's concerns in the community, the parents, faculty, even within the school board, to make effective decisions. And that's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you. This next question will be starting with Chris Ann again. How much should the board seek out the view of teachers and other school employees?
I think it's essential that school board members are talking to staff, that they are visiting schools, that they are excellent listeners, that teachers, that students, that parents feel that they can approach them, that they can have conversations with them, and they should be very skilled in knowing how to handle the information that they get. I think it's really key that they don't act on any information right away that they may get, but you need to take that back and share that with the board, maybe share that with the superintendent or other people that may want to help you process that information. And if you're working with the community, with the teachers and getting that information, you also have a responsibility to get back to them too. And I have a history of working with teachers in that way and parents, and really truly believe that it should be a very quick turnaround when someone has given you information that maybe that they would like some action on.
Thank you. Derek?
Teachers, classified staff, they are on the front lines of the education that our kids get. And I think they are very valuable stakeholders. They routinely know what's going on in campus. They know what the needs are, and they've been a great resource for giving information and bringing up stuff. And I would include management as well. I think all of us working together, parents, board members, teachers, classified staff, management, all of us working together with different opinions. Like, these groups don't always agree on things, but if we can come together under a shared purpose and find the best solution for everyone, I think we'll actually have the best outcomes. And the real trick is when groups don't get along, and those private conversations where there might be a lack of trust or there are concerns, how do we make sure that we solve these solutions without people getting their feelings hurt, where they don't feel like they're being heard or valued? The data says very clearly that teachers and staff who feel supported, who have autonomy, perform better at their job. So if we support our teachers and staff and they actually feel that support, they will do a better job educating our kids.
Thank you.
I think it is imperative as a school board to obtain information from our teachers, our classified staff, administrators, and their unions. As somebody who completes investigations for a living, part of my job is to take in all the information, not to make decisions, not to jump to, this is what this person said, I agree, oh, you pulled on my heartstrings, that's the way we're gonna go. It's to take in all of the entirety of something and to do my due diligence in whatever decision we come to. And I think that as a school board, every decision that is made should be made at the due diligence of everybody on that board who has also completed their own investigations, whether it's talking to the same people or talking to different people within the same bodies and groups. We just need to make sure that you are taking in all of the possible information to make the most effective and educated decisions overall.
Thank you.
Board members need to listen, be present, be available, and there's kind of a couple of ways that we do that. We need to be face-to-face. We need to tour learning walks, we need to be on campuses, we need to be at events, sporting events, for example. So that face-to-face relationship is key. To listen, ask good questions, and to follow up. That's just kind of just good manners. But if there's a grievance or a problem, look and listen, and then the first call I'm going to make is to our superintendent. And follow up and see how it goes, ask and follow up with the superintendent, and then I owe that person, whether it's a teacher, whether it's a parent, whether it's an administrator or just a community member, I owe them a follow-up phone call. Those relationships are key, and that's part of our job and part of our commitment as school board members.
Thank you. Joseph?
Thank you. I agree with Derek. The staff is on the front lines. They're the first to know any issues that may arise. I believe in open door policies. I believe that both the school board and the staffs of each of our schools should be able to openly and effectively communicate with one another, and to be able to express concerns without judgment or anything like that. I believe that as a school board member, we should be engaged face-to-face with teachers, the students, the parents, most importantly the parents and the students, and make sure that anything that comes up, any issue, that we address those, and providing any support needed for the teachers on all levels.
Thank you. Brittany?
Our educators experience firsthand the impact, the successes, and the struggles that result from our votes. So it's vital that we not just hear their view, but respect it and we follow up. And I'll say even 3 steps back, that we already have an established relationship of trust and open communication that's accomplished through learning walks, the presence at events and celebrations, even things like coffee with the board member, or things that we could add on in order to be more proactive about opening those lines of communication. Certainly respecting the chain of command process, procedures, timely follow-up, but not only should it be sought out, but it needs to be a continual feedback loop of the good and the bad of what is happening on the ground.
Thank you. Okay. This next question will start with Derek. In what ways have you been of service to public education prior to your becoming a candidate in this election?
Oh, well, I'm not even going to write on that one. First and foremost, I'm a parent. My kids, hi, Abby. She's looking kind of freaked out, but that is, I think, the most important job in education I have, is just really helping raise 2 wonderful kids that not only I like to be around, but other people like to be around, and who will be very equipped for life. I'm also an educator. I'm an 8th grade science teacher. So I'm in the trenches day in, day out, working with our kids on the front lines. So I think you gain a little understanding of education when you actually work in the classroom. Things look differently when you're in the classroom teaching kids. You know what things work, what things don't. You also know some of the frustrations you may have. So as a parent, teacher, I would say also on school board, you do learn things being involved in education, both from your successes and failures. You learn, oh, this is a better way of communicating. This doesn't work with people. This is a better way of approaching. And finally, I would say being involved in many community groups, being involved in local PTAs, this helps me know people and their concerns as well.
Thank you.
I feel like it's like a rap sheet, the level of involvement I've had in public education. Well, I don't get to call myself a teacher. I think that I always wanted to be one. That's why I'm always around. But I have run a Girl Scout troop for multiple years, which allowed me to connect with students, with girls, and get to know girls and get to hear the things that they talk about. I have been a part of the San Dimas Site Council for 2 years now. I've been on the board for 2 of San Dimas High School's booster clubs, both the bingo and the athletic and academic boosters. I've participated on the Superintendent's Council, the Endemic Council, and I've really made myself available not just to my children and my schools, but to other schools. I've been a part of the district and the San Dimas High School PTAs, and I've also assisted extra in PTA when they've reached out to me on just some specific little council committees that they had that they were working on. And I really just strive to help all the students in our district in every way, because that's how you get to know people.
Thank you.
Public servant before school board. So I got interested in school district business long before I ran for school board. As a father, I was PTA, school site council. I was a booster parent. I was a chaperone. I was also a Boy Scout leader, a coach, and commissioner with the city of San Dimas for 7 years, various nonprofits, and in my day job, my professional career, I was CEO for California Prison Healthcare, which is with the state of California. Public service is near and dear to my heart. It's what I do, it's who I am, it's how I was raised, which is a kind of a natural liaison to this district that I love, a district where my 2 children grew up, K through 12, that was before TK, and it's something that's a long-term love affair and something I'm looking forward to in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you.
There you go.
Go ahead, Joseph.
Okay. So myself, I haven't been directly involved with our school district as of yet, but I've been involved with various youth organizations within our community, such as DMLA, Rainbow for Girls, and Job's Daughters, which are organizations for young men and women between the ages of 12 to 21, teaching them business skills such as budgeting, how to conduct business meetings, Robert's Rule of Order, and a vast numerous different things. And I myself am an alumni or product of those organizations, and engaging with the young men and women, I hear most of what goes on in school, hear parents and their concerns and everything with education, and one day hopefully that myself and my fiance, when we have children, they'll be Bonita Unified School District kids, and I'll have that great pleasure to being a parent.
Thank you.
Could you actually repeat the question?
Yes, I will repeat the question. In what ways have you been of service to public education prior to your becoming a candidate in this election?
Okay, great. So I was an SES tutor for an after-school program that served Azusa Unified while I was going to University of Laverne to study education. While not public education, I also did college prep instruction during that time and was actually a teacher at a private high school before I stepped away from the classroom because of how much I valued my role as the primary educator in my kids' lives. So echoing that as being of utmost value. And then once my kids entered the district, I kind of went into hyper gear of serving on the PTA and the beautification committee at my kids' homeschool, the district wellness oversight committee, superintendent's parental advisory committee, vice president of our local educational foundation, where I sit on the wellness committee there, and then also just serving the kids in our community as an ASO coach and the director of a local summer youth camp at one of the churches. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Chrisanne.
Okay, 32 years of experience. How have I been of service to education? I think I've always been an educator that looks to do what's the very best thing for students. Always looked for bringing research-based materials and programs so that we can have effective instruction. I'm a parent, I'm a grandparent. I taught for 9 years middle and high school science and math. I was a dean of students at Bonita High School for 1 year, 17 years as a principal at Shoal Elementary School, 13 years as an adjunct instructor at the University of Laverne, teaching educational methods, assessment, accountability, and 5 years as the elementary curriculum director here in Bonita Unified. I've also been 6 years as a seroptimist, and oh gosh, I have served on so many committees, negotiations, and also city committees as well, so.
Thank you. Okay. This question will start with Crystal. How much time will you or can you give to board service?
I can probably give a whole lot more time than most working parents. I hate to say that. I have the privilege, I work from home, and it enables me the ability to be present during the daytime for whatever is necessary, whether it's a 9 a.m. board meeting or a 9 a.m. PTA meeting. I do spend a lot of time outside of my home working with the district and assisting in any way possible. So I think the only answer to that is as much time as they need, because it's worth it.
Thank you. Jim?
You know, I'm at a point in my career, thankfully, where I can devote just about as much time as I need to. There was a time 4 or 5 years ago when I was on some committees in Sacramento, and it was difficult with my schedule. That's changed. The pandemic changed that, as a matter of fact. And I'm now in a situation where, in a commitment I made a year ago when I was appointed to fill the vacant seat left by resignation, I'm at a point in my career where I can devote and adjust my schedule to go to learning walks and to go to committee meetings and to devote time to new endeavors such as the Bonita Roundtable. And that's part of the commitment you make as a board member, something that's near and dear to my heart. So whatever it takes, I'm willing to make that commitment, and it's part of my commitment as part of this campaign and in the years ahead.
Thank you. Joseph?
Thank you. So I plan to put forth as much time as needed and as much as I can. I feel that as a board member, it would be my responsibility, if elected, to be engaged with all levels of our education system, with faculty, with the students, with the parents. And I am a working professional, and I feel that with technology and other avenues of being able to go to events and things like that, with being able to quickly travel from my house to any event in any of our school district, I feel that any time that I'm needed, and I would be more than happy to adjust my schedule to make time for the district and for the parents and for the students, and I'm really excited to be engaged with them. So.
Thank you. Brittany?
As you maybe could have told in my last response, I have a lot of energy and enthusiasm for this community and for this school district. As I mentioned, I do have the privilege of having been able to step away from my career to dedicate my life to my children and to the children of this community. So I am in it. My family and my value system prioritizes volunteerism, and I really am dedicated to community connection. I believe we have a great school district and a great community, and with the right leaders, we've just got an even brighter future ahead of us.
Thank you. Chris-Ann?
I truly enjoy getting out there and just being with this school district as often as possible. And I am retired, so I am my time is your time, and I support my husband a little bit, and he has an electrical contracting business. I am president of Sir Optimus. That keeps me busy with some community events. But the number one thing I want to do is be a responsible board member and continue to support Bonita Unified.
Thank you. Derek?
Thank you. There's actually a lot that a board member does. It's not just showing up to football games or I guess showing up to events, but there's a bunch of reading that you have to do. There's a lot of emails, there are board policies, there's always a new update. I'm someone who has never heard, I do not spend enough time working on something. I'm someone who probably maybe spends more time working on something than people would appreciate. But that being said, I have some limitations. Like a lot of families, a lot of people, I have a full-time job. I'm a teacher, so from the hours of 7 to 3:30, Monday through Friday, most days, I actually need to be at work. Outside that, I can take a sick day here or there. And I do try to go to all the events I can, and I make sure the things that are vital get done well.
Thank you. So this last question was submitted by the audience, an audience member, and it's directed to Crystal and Joseph. So we'll start with Crystal's. I'm going by the published ballot order. Why do you think you are the best qualified candidate for the school board?
By the way, thank you, whoever asked. I think that I'm the most qualified candidate for the school board because I have already proven that I have a commitment to not just the students in this district, but to the community and to our staff and to every stakeholder as a part of this district. As I look forward to my youngest daughter graduating in the next couple years, I know that I have not given, in the 6 years we would have been a part of Bonita, I have not been able to give this district everything that I can. And so I know that my level of commitment and dedication to what needs to be done going forward is what this district needs. Not to mention, as a person who is a representative and different than the rest of the board, I think that we really need to put people on this board and elect people to the board who are not necessarily just public service employees, but as a private sector employee. That 1 minute gets me.
Thank you. Joseph?
So I feel that I'm the best candidate because I have a vested interest in this community. I'm going to be starting a family soon, so I'm going to be hopefully raising future Gladstone Griffins and Lone Hill Lions and San Dimas Saints, and I feel that right now is the best time, especially I'm 30 years old, I'm active, I'm running around, trying to be involved in my community, helping my friends who also have children in the district, and I feel that being engaged with the community and investing in our community's future with the kids is the most important thing. These kids are going to be the future leaders. They're eventually most likely going to be sitting on the school board, the next superintendent, teachers within our schools. So I feel that as a member of the community and hopefully soon a parent of a student of the school board, stop.
Thank you. So that concludes the question portion of the form. And now I'll invite the candidates to do their closing remarks. You'll have 1 minute each. And the order of speaking is the reverse of the opening remarks. So we'll start with Joseph and then go back this way. Ready, Leah?
All right. So
Yeah, they're really good.
the main goals that I want to address as a board member is effective communication with the parents, the board, the faculty, all levels. I want to make sure that students are provided with many different avenues, not just college, but different trade works and different avenues that suit them the best. And I want to be able to provide the faculty and superintendent on all levels working together as partners everything that they need to work together and to be able to have an effective unified school district and to work together and have a good time. So thank you.
Thank you. Jim?
Thank you. You know, I'd like to thank Jill Dolan, our moderator, and the Laverne and San Dimas Chambers of Commerce for hosting tonight's forum. My name is Jim Elliott, and I am running for the seat on the Bonita Unified Board of Education in the newly formed Trustee Area 3. With this campaign, I recommit myself to the school district I love, and remember, I am your partner in our students' future. Please vote for me on or before November 8th, and please reach out to me at Jim Elliott for School Board on Instagram, Facebook, and on my website, or just shoot me an email, jselliott, with one T, at roadrunner.com, or just give me a ring at 909-592-4240. The truth is, this is not my comfort zone. I'd really like to have just a conversation with you. Thank you, and good night.
Thank you, Jim. Crystal.
I mirror your sentiments on not my comfort zone. I want to thank everybody again who's here this evening, and all of those people who have put that interest and all of the time and support that it takes to hold an event like this, but also everybody who has devoted time for tuning in. I am committed to Bonita Unified, and I firmly hold their values of equity, mastery, and a focus on results, because these three values are driven by outcomes. And as we have seen in the past, their goals and their outcomes are aligned, and there is a proven track record. And if elected to this board, I hope to continue that proven track record and also push it forward to exceed. I am a servant of the people, and I am always here to have any discussion, whether it be a hard conversation or whether we're talking football. I love all the topics, and I welcome any discussion, and I hope that you'll vote for Crystal Jones-Bacon.
Thank you. Derek?
First, I'd like to say thank you for everyone who showed up, and for everyone who tuned in. Thank you for caring about who is running for school board and becoming an informed voter. I've had the privilege of being on the board for 4 years, and it has been a very unique, wonderful experience. And I have found that there are a lot of people with opinions, and that they will talk to you when they have them, whether it's someone in a community group, whether it's someone randomly in the city, whether it's staff who have a concern, whether it is superintendent who gives us a bunch of updates. I appreciate that I've had this opportunity to be a part of such an amazing district. And if I could just take a couple seconds to just plug our district has had amazing test scores. Our district has probably the best mental health program I have ever seen. Our district is a destination district, and I would love it if you would consider giving me a second term to serve as a board member in this district.
Thank you. Chris Ann?
I'm going to piggyback on what Derek just said. I was speaking to someone from LA County last night, because I'm working on a presentation for about 150 educators for Los Angeles County, and telling them about the literacy program here in Bonita Unified. And as we were going through the slides, we kept getting compliments coming to us about how can you have a district with an 80-70 goal? That's unheard of. That it must be so wonderful to work in that district. It was so interesting for me, because the high expectations in this district have been here, and I want to be part of this board. As a closing statement, I want to say that I firmly believe I'm the best candidate for the open seat representing San Dimas and Laverne. Under my leadership, I was able to motivate and teach and monitor a BUSD elementary school to attain 3 state awards and the only National Blue Ribbon Award ever attained by a school in this district, and to help spread an effective literacy program. But there is more work to be done.
I'm sorry, Chris Ann.
Thanks.
We have to stop. Thank you. Brittany?
Thanks. As a former educator, I do understand a bit of the needs of the classroom, and that every classroom is different, so I'm here to listen and learn. As someone who has helped manage our family business and served as a nonprofit executive, I understand the value of community partnership and the necessity of fiscal responsibility. As a volunteer at my kids' homeschool and through my district-wide roles and service, I'm aware of district-wide issues and will continue to work to develop solutions. And I've shown the way that I go about developing solutions. Last school year, I led a monthly community roundtable, bringing together community stakeholders. It was on Facebook or Nextdoor. I'm sorry if you missed it. But I have shown that I do have a mind willing to be changed and a heart that thirsts for meaningful dialogue. I think that's what this board needs. I think it's what the community needs. I am here for you, and I would encourage you to learn more at Brittany for BUSD, and most importantly, be sure to vote by November 8th. Thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes the candidates forum. Thank you again to the City of Laverne for letting us invade their city council chambers. Thank you to the Laverne Chamber of Commerce, the San Dimas Chamber of Commerce, our candidates, and those here with us this evening and watching at home. Have a wonderful evening, and as everyone's already said this evening, don't forget to vote by November 8th. Thank you. Oh. Oh. Oh.
That was awesome. Thank you